Today, people are suffering, nature is dying, entire ecosystem are collapsing, and we are in the beginning of immense extinction. And you are talking about economic growth? How dare you to be so selfish? The environmental problem does not necessarily be a signal of our demise, but remember, environment is our passport for the future. Hello, everybody. Today I am going to present my views on economic growth versus climate change. The economic development that we have achieved so far has come at a very heavy price, that is, at the cost of our environmental quality. Every political leader tries to make their country developed. But how? By exploiting the natural resources, of course. And so the result is that for the first time in the history of humanity, most of the population doesn't live in poverty. This is a milestone, but at the same time, a challenge. More middle class people with more purchasing power translates into more consumption, that is demand, and so more will be the production, that is supply. But just think for a while, can our planet handle it? Aren't we walking towards the destruction of our planet? Today, billions of people of the world are suffering and abusing the environment. The government are dealing from the global economic crisis. The gap between rich and poor is getting wider day by day. Now let us have a glance on how economic development can cause climate change. First, fertility falls as income rise, education spreads, and health improves. Second, according to Mr. Lester R. Brown, the Earth's principal biological system are fisheries, forests, grasslands, and croplands. Today, fisheries are collapsing due to protein hunger and protein conscious world. Forests are disappeared due to deforestation. Grasslands are converted into barren wastelands, and the croplands have lost fertility due to overuse of fertilizers and pesticides. The third prominent reason is the overpopulation, due to which rich gets richer and poor beget more children, which condemns them to remain poor. More people require more resources, which exploits the natural environment. Another reason is the industrialization, due to which economic growth have become super fast, have great impact on our climate. The rising level of carbon dioxide and other trapping gases into the atmosphere have warmed the earth and caused the phenomenon called as global warming. You can't even imagine that world's only top 100 companies are worst populating and responsible for around 71% of carbon emission in all over the world. But don't worry and do not lose hope. Thus, it is proven that humankind is responsible for climate change because there are some inspiration here now. The few years ago, I think there are the month of September, we saw over 7 million people doing climate strikes across the world in more than 85 countries. And all of them were inspired by 1 year protest by a climate activist, Greta Thunberg, a 15-year-old girl who skipped her school to protest in front of the Swedish parliament in August 2018. Actually, in that year, Sweden has the hottest July month in at least 260 years. Greta's cause of anger was that the world is woefully short of 2-degree goal for climate change that United Nations decided 2 to 3 decades ago. Climate change is real. We can see its effect. World has witnessed droughts, floods, high temperature and too low temperature in winters. If we will continue our wasteful ways, by 2050 almost 4 billion people will live in areas experiencing superior water scarcity. The earth's temperature would be increased up to 3 to 6 degrees. Greenhouse gas emission pushing the Earth's temperature by around 3 to 6 degrees Celsius increasing. It could also be very much harmful for our health as well. The heat due to heat over death related to heat will increase around 2 lakh in coming future. Actions speaks louder than words, something that all of us know. Growth needs environmentally sustainable. We should fulfill our needs and also should conserve for future. We need the government and the policymakers to understand and realize that we are living in the conditions which hazardous to our health and our future. They have the responsibility to help us. If a ninth standard girl Greta can protest, then why can't we? This is the era of responsibility. We can take individual actions and then we have to change the whole era. We have to spread awareness against the industries which creates too much of pollutions. We have to pressurize government because we are the government, that is democracy, and we have to take actions first. We can't wait for the leaders to come in front. It is the era of responsibility, as I said before. We know the last 2 years of lockdown, which were really soothing for environment because the pollution free blue sky was seen at that time. The clean rivers were also found. Animals dancing people have witnessed and came on news, and the blooming flowers and trees all were observed. Hence, I would end up with the words of Mr. Lester R. Brown, that is, we have not inherited this earth from our forefathers, we have borrowed it from our children. That's all. Thank you.